How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about fragrance, smell, house smell, fragrances inside homes and apartments. The world has changed. Smell has taken a new path into stink land. Chemicals inside houses and apartments and dwellings, soaking into the walls and stinking up everything. Houses that don't smell like houses anymore. Homes that don't smell like homes anymore. Instead, abominable smells, chemical infusions, and brews. Get ready. This one's a tough one for anyone who has a lot of smell going on, but it's for everyone's own good, because what you're going to hear may bring you to a healthier life. Body odor. So many people have body odor. So many. And they don't like smelling that body odor. People around them don't like it. They lift up their armpit, stick their nose in there, take a sniff. They smell it, see if they smell fresh enough. Maybe get some deodorant. They use deodorant. Maybe they need to take another shower and wash underneath their armpits. So many people have a stink that comes off of them. Go back a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, keep on going back, 1960, 50, 1940, 1930, 1920, 1910. Lots of people have been here and they're gone. They were here, they smelled, and they're gone. Their smell stayed around forever. It's in the walls. It was in the carpets. It went through the carpets. It's in the floor. It's in the old floorboards. It's in the ceiling. It's in the attic. It's in the basement. It was in the furniture. But as time goes on, furniture gets tossed or thrown out. New people move in. New people move out. New people move in, then they move out. Decades go by. Houses can be very old. Apartments can be very old too. And that body odor, it stays behind. Stays behind. You can have 100 years of body odor just waffling through a house or an apartment or a dwelling, going through the walls, sitting in the wallboards, sitting in there, nesting, camping out for a century. And it can bring about a very mild smell. And then there's the breath, somebody's breath, breathing. Some people have really bad breath. Some people have really stinky breath. Smells really bad, halitosis. Some families can have bad breath. They just do. It happens all the time. Decades of bad breath in a house, or decades of just any breath in a house. It eventually gets into the walls. It eventually gets into the furniture, of course. It gets into the ceiling, the attic, the basement, gets into the floorboards, gets into everything. It's a smell that naturally comes out of us. Some people have all kinds of things rotting in their bowels, and that smell comes out of their mouth when they breathe. It comes out of their lungs. It comes out of everything, their pores. And it travels all around the house, all around the apartment, all around the dwelling, and it could be there for a very long time. Somebody's grandfather, somebody's great-grandfather maybe lived in the same house. Maybe It's just a different house or a different dwelling or apartment. But the people before, they were breathing too. Of course, we're alive and we breathe. And then there's flatulence, gas, farts. Many, many decades of farts in a dwelling or a house or an apartment. Many decades. People move in, people move out. People move in, people move out. And they have gas. And they let that gas out. It all comes out, saturates into the walls, into the furniture, saturates into the ceiling, the attic, the basement, the tiles in the bathroom, the walls in the bathroom. The gas just settles in. And if it's spicy gas, has a really pungent smell, it could stick around for years and years, especially since people are living there in that house, apartment, or dwelling, and gas has to be let out, and it does. When people sleep at night, all the gas comes out of them when they sleep at night too. They're farting in their sleep. They're releasing that flatulence, that gas. It's just coming out, and it gets into the walls of the bedrooms. And that's how it works. Stuff is leaving us, and it ends up seeping into the home, deep into the home, decades worth, centuries worth if the house is really old, their apartment is really old. And then the bathroom, elimination, urination. When men urinate, it splashes everywhere when they stand up. It goes everywhere. Tiny splatters hit the walls. They hit the cabinets in the bathroom. They hit the floor. They hit the water in the toilet, then pop right back out. Tiny droplets everywhere. And if it's in the middle of the night and a man is urinating in the middle of the night, there's a lot of misses that occur. Missing the toilet, hits the rim, splashes everywhere. That can go on for years, even if it goes on for months until they move out and somebody else moves in, or it goes on for decades, or a new family comes in. The men in the family are missing the rim in the middle of the night. It's splashing everywhere. It seeps into the tile over time. Doesn't matter how many times you clean or scrub, gets into the walls of the bathroom, and it releases a smell. Over time, it builds up and releases a smell. Bathroom fans don't always work. They don't always work in certain houses. Sometimes they're broken. Many bathrooms don't have an exhaust fan. And even with the exhaust fan doesn't mean that when somebody's eliminating, going number 2, it doesn't mean that all the smell being released, all that gas going into the walls, going into the air, into the vents, going through the house, doesn't mean that all just disappears. And year after year, after year, after decade, this all seeps into the house itself. And what about cooking? Food. Every night, every day, every morning, every afternoon. Cooking fish. Cooking meat. Cooking chicken in a pan, in the oven. Roasting a roast. Different dishes. Different spices, different herbs. Different oils that have a smell. What about cooking itself? Food. What about food that gets in places you can't reach anymore? It gets between the stove, underneath the refrigerator, in all kinds of different places. Everything has a smell. Everything releases a smell. What if a family is cooking with a lot of spices, a lot of garlic? That garlic sits in the walls and the floors and the ceilings forever, decades and decades. It saturates in everything. It goes through the house itself. So when everybody's eating day in and day out, and then what about takeout? Food brought in, pizzas and all kinds of other dishes and all kinds of foods. What about eggs? A lot of people scramble eggs every morning. They boil eggs all the time. They fry eggs. That sulfury egg smell, it gets into everything. What about bacon? Cooking bacon. Bacon can saturate into everything. And all the droplets of pig fat, bacon fat, pop off the pan, out of the pan, hit the walls, hit the stove, hit the counters. You can wipe it down, you can clean it, but you're going to have that salty bacon smell. It's going to be there forever. A decade, 2 decades. Another family moves in. They're frying bacon in a pan. They're frying eggs. They're cooking eggs. They're cooking food. They're using spices and herbs. And it's happening over and over and over again. And all those smells that from all those years and decades gets into the insulation, into the walls, into the wallboards, into the tile, into the floors, into the wood floors, into the carpets, to the ceilings, the attic, the basement, and it stays there forever. It gets entombed. All these smells get entombed. And what about skin flakes? Dander comes off of people's heads, gets into the carpet, gets into the wood floors, gets into the air vents, travels, it just floats. All kinds of different lint that comes off of people's body, and all kinds of different skin flakes from dry skin. People dry brush, gets everywhere, goes into everything. It sits in everything, and it has a smell over time. It just does. And that smell sits there for decades. As more people move in, more people move out. Even if a house is renovated or an apartment is gutted and renovated, a lot of renovations, they don't change all the wall boards. A lot of insulation still stays in different places. They keep the frame. Most of the frame is always intact. The attic, the basement, it still has the smell, still keeps the smells. And what if there's pets? But years of pets, decades of pets, dogs and cat dander and cat hair, dog food, cat food in the kitchen, and it's just everywhere. The smell just gets into everything and anything. All these smells add up and they make a house what it is. They make a home what it is. There's a smell, a combination of smells. They can be really old, there for decades, 100 years or even more, and they can be there just for 10 years. But all these smells all come together. If somebody walked into one of these old houses, or if somebody walked into just a house that preserved this type of living, where it's living that everybody does, but there's a difference. There isn't a chemical warfare aspect going on. If we can take ourselves back in time 20 years, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, walk into a house and what you smell is just some salty, somewhat spicy, somewhat rich, some type of odor that was just this home is lived in. This home is being lived in. And if the people moved out and you walked into a home, maybe you're looking to live there for some reason in that area or that house, and you went in there and you would smell just families and their natural smell. It wouldn't be offensive. It wouldn't be terrible. It would just smell like somebody lived there. It wouldn't be this horrendous smell, but it would have an odor, a natural odor of just people and people living in a home, a family living in a home. And that is historic because guess what? That is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. The homes of the past, you smell baked bread, a fireplace, a pie in the oven, a wet dog coming in from the outside of the rain. And those are the smells that are gone. Sure. There might be still a little bit of that somewhere in between the chemical warfare of the air fresheners and the scented candles and the colognes and the perfumes and the fungicides. There might be just a little bit there. Sure, you can bake a pie in the oven now in a house that's filled with air freshener and scented candles. And if you stick your face up to the pie, you'll smell the pie, but you'll also be sucking in all that chem warfare. Lots of it. Because houses have been destroyed. Homes have been destroyed. Dwellings have been destroyed. It's not the same. You don't smell homes anymore. You don't smell people who lived in those homes. You don't know what you're smelling anymore. If there was a mold problem in the old days, you would just smell it. You would smell it. It would have a sweet, sickly smell, but you would catch it. You would smell it. So if you're looking to a new apartment or you're just renting this old place you found, or you just wanted to buy a new home, or whatever it is that's happening in someone's life, you can walk in and you can smell if there's musty mildew, but you can smell it. You don't even have to test for it. You'll smell it with your nose. You can open up a cabinet inside a bathroom, stick your face down in there and go, "Ooh, I smell some mildew." But you can't now. You can't do that anymore. It's not going to happen. You'll never know. So you have to rely on what? A test. And a kit that's testing for that may not be accurate, may not even be functioning right. The place that it's even being sent to may not test it right, a lab, depending on what kind of mold you're looking for. But the days are gone of being able to kind of sniff out that mold in most houses for sure. Because you're not going to smell that mildew or that musty nature. You're not going to smell it. Everything is just jammed. The frequencies are just jammed with all kinds of intense chemical warfare. We're in a time in history where homes are being destroyed. Are homes important? Are apartments important? Dwellings important? Yes, of course. It's where people go and they rest and they sleep at night and they make meals and they live their life and they spend their free time there, or if they even work at home. But the days are gone now. It's hard to find a place that isn't saturated with dangerous chemicals, saturated with cancer-causing chemicals, with chronic illness triggering chemicals that trigger chronic illness of all kinds. Toxic, poisonous chemical brews from the chemical industry that's placed in fabric softeners, detergents, air fresheners, scented candles, and that's just a few things now. Body products, soaps, everything. Sometimes these things are so dangerous that they're there to smell forever. They're built to smell forever. They're designed for longer lasting smells. They're designed to even worsen as time goes on. And everybody is dealing and living with this every day now. They're dealing with it in their lives. It's in their homes. And rentals, so apartments, you'll get somebody in there that are using the most toxic of all chemicals. They're using bug sprays all the times in the apartments. They're trying to kill termites. They're trying to kill spiders and ants. And same with homes too. People use lots of pesticides, fungicides, all in the walls. It's in the basements. It's in the attics. It's on the floors. It's in the ceiling. It's everywhere. People bug bomb everything as well. So they're bombing rooms and houses from bed bugs and mites and roaches and spiders and ants. And these smells intensify and intensify. And then air fresheners over and over again to try to hide a dog smell or a cat smell or a body odor smell. So let's take air fresheners. Air fresheners are not what they used to be. They were bad 20 years ago. Air fresheners were terrible 20 years ago. Concocted blends of just nothing but chemical badness. Plug-in air fresheners have taken new heights, new levels of chemical warfare. Nothing is the same as it was. Nothing when it comes down to fragrances. It's not the same thing as it was before. Much more dangerous, much more toxic to the health than ever before. Plug-in air fresheners are one of those very things that have changed over time, not for the better. And then scented candles. It's a whole nother one right there. In 2020, when COVID hit, everybody was using scented candles. It was all over social media. Everybody, almost everybody, they were buying scented candles. They were lighting them. It was the big thing. It was like therapy. The irony, a lot of people that were into health, into wellness, health coaches, people that loved health, people that were doing health blogs, people that were doing health videos, they were using the scented candles. People that were eating their salads, people that were having their avocado toast, people that were worried about what they were eating, watching their sugar, were celebrating their scented candle moments. It was like a celebration. People were showing off their scented candles, and there were hundreds of them, and they were health and wellness influencers. They were healthy lifestyle influencers, and it was all about scented candles. And what about spray bottle air fresheners? Not just the aerosol can of the old day, but spray bottle air fresheners and mists. You see commercials where people are spraying it on the couches, on the furniture, on the carpet. Can you imagine? Yeah, it's actually really bad. Toxic chemicals, damp toxic chemicals. Oils are in there too. Toxic oils with those chemicals being sprayed on the furniture. It seeps in. It never goes away. It only gets worse over time. And then there's colognes and aftershave. It's a whole nother story. Perfumes, there you go. Perfumes, car air fresheners, incense. People think incense is healthy or something. They don't know how toxic it really is. Scent diffusers, scented body lotions, creams, sprays, body washes, detergents, scented shampoos, conditioners, gels, other hair products. Hair products is a whole nother game. There's so many chemicals in hair products. Scented laundry detergents, fabric softeners, and dryer sheets. Dryer sheets? That's the outside of the home. People think, no, it's the inside. It's going in the dryer. No, that's being delivered outside, saturating the neighborhood, saturating everywhere. Wildlife has to breathe it in. If a bird flies by, it has to breathe in that scented dryer sheet and that fabric softener stink coming out of the dryer. It gets everywhere. And then cosmetics and makeup that has all these different toxic chemicals in it, dryer dust. The exhaust that goes outside from the dryer dust, from the dryers, inside the homes, using conventional laundry products, colognes, perfumes, scented candles, air fresheners, all gets in the clothing, gets washed, it gets dried, and it's sent out everywhere. And that's what homes smell like now. That's the new smell in apartments, homes, dwellings. This is the smell of today. It's the chemical industry's greatest wish. It's what they wanted. They wanted to abolish the smell of human beings, of natural living, of home. There used to be a smell to a home. It used to be inviting. It used to be relaxing. It didn't trick out the senses. It didn't destroy cranial nerves. It didn't burn the eyes. It didn't feel like it was burning the sinuses. But now, homes can actually cause eyes to water. The toxic fragrances of today can cause eyes to burn, sinuses to burn, your head feel like it's on fire. There are so many people sensitive, extremely sensitive to toxic chemicals. They've been through a lot. They're dealing with some kind of chronic illness. Maybe they just have chronic fatigue syndrome, but sitting in air that's filled with that many toxic chemicals can be a trigger, can be difficult. And there's people that don't have chronic illness. They're not suffering or struggling with a chronic illness on any level. Maybe they have a symptom or two, but it's not dragging them down. And their eyes can start burning. And they don't know why. They can start sneezing, have a reaction. Their sinuses can start to hurt. And they don't know it's because of all these toxic chemicals. When you get a house or an apartment and you're moving in and you're smelling their smell, it's not their body or their body odor or their dogs and cats or anything else. You're smelling all the air fresheners that they chose. The air fresheners that had some wildflower that they like, or some other kind of perfume that they like, or detergent that they like that has a certain smell to it. So you end up inheriting, you end up taking on that smell. It becomes your smell now too. And so when you purchase a home or rent a home or rent an apartment and you're looking for a new place to nest, a new place to be, you might be inheriting and taking on their smells. Their smells aren't going away. They're chemical company smells. They're in the walls, they're in the floors, they're everywhere. They're part of the house or the apartment. They don't go away. And You can make them kind of go away partially if you're into air fresheners and scented candles and different detergents. That if you use one of the detergents that you like that has a lot of different smell to it, a lot of fragrances, or scented candles that you like that have a different fragrance, you can maybe shadow over the previous owner or renter's smells, but you're adding to the toxic soup. It may become a smell that you like more because you're burning your candles, you're using your air fresheners that you like, you're using your air freshener spray bottles on your furniture, you're using your detergents and your fabric softeners that you like. It might be a different one than they used, but you're using them and you're trying to overcome their smells with the smells that you like. And then it's a mixed bag of goods. Their smells never went away. They're still there, even if they're hidden. And a lot of people do that. They try to cover up those smells because they have their own fragrances, their own that they use, that they like, that they enjoy. Ones that are really toxic, that can have a long lasting smell, long lasting scent, fragrance. So they end up mixing those in with the other ones that used to be there. But the other ones that used to be there are still really strong. And in every house, that's how it goes. When you use scented detergents in the dishwasher, automatic dishwasher, your dishwasher will smell forever. It'll have that fragrance. It's embedded into the plastic, embedded into the mechanics of that dishwasher. It never goes away. You can add your dishwasher detergent, your scented version that you like, and you can saturate it in there and it'll just mix. It'll become its own blend, but it'll become a franken blend. And that's what happens to a lot of people's homes and apartments. They move in, they bring in their scented candles, they bring in their air fresheners, they bring in their air freshener bottles, their spray bottles for their furniture, even for the walls now. That's what people do. It's a new thing. They bring in their fabric softeners, their detergents, and they mix them. It becomes a mixed fragrance, like a franken smell. This could happen over and over again. 10 families can move into a house or an apartment over the course of 10 years and bring in their own brew, their own toxic brew. And then you have the possibility of not just 1,000 chemicals, you have the possibility of 20,000 chemicals. 20,000 chemicals that make up all these fragrances. The more air fresheners and fragrances that are in a house or an apartment makes you wonder, what is everybody trying to hide? What is it? What kind of smell are they trying to hide? If someone is about to purchase a home and they go into that home and they're walking around, there's lots of air fresheners in the walls, in the plugs, or they're just smelling a tremendous amount of fragrance, what are they trying to hide? Is it dog smell, cat smell, a pet turtle smell? Is it some kind of weird body odor? Or is it just the bathrooms and urine? What are they really trying to hide? And that's one of the things that happens in a lot of homes is people tend to burn the scented candles. They tend to create a fragrance bomb as they're selling homes or as they're just renting them out. So the new renters come in and they smell and they're like, ooh, wildflowers. Oh, this smells good. Ooh, what is this? Smells like flowers. Smells like daisies. Smells like roses. And they don't know what's really there. The problem with this is you want to know what's there. You want to know the real smell. What are you getting into? What are you renting? What are you buying? What are you moving into? Where are you going and what is going on in there? Is it mold you're smelling? Is it just body odor? Fine, let it be body odor, but at least you know what it is. People lose their sense of smell in this day and age. They don't have a strong snoot. They don't know what they're smelling anymore. And the problem is with this is you lose the ability to know what something smells like. So people now, young people are growing up and they're growing up never smelling a natural thing. They're smelling perfumes and colognes all the time. Or children are growing up in a household
where they're smelling ant killer, roach killer, bug killer. They're smelling fungicides, or their clothes and blankets and pillowcases and sheets are saturated in detergents that have all these fragrances, all these different dryer sheets, fabric softeners, and it's the only smell they smell because those smells dominate. They take over. They could take over a room, they could take over a house, they could saturate a house and then gas out of the windows, gas out of the doorway into the street. Somebody walking by can smell it as clear as day. The fragrance sector of the chemical industry is far from innocent. The industry has a set of goals: saturate everybody and everything with a chemical concoction. One goal is to keep their chemicals in mass production and make people believe that they smell and need to hide a smell, because that's where the trick out is. The trick out all this time was that you stink, and that's what we've been told. We've been told that a person smells and it needs to be hidden, and a person's house and home stinks and it needs to be hidden, and a person's bathroom smells and it needs to be hidden. That's what everybody was taught. For some reason, that was the goal, and that goal has worked. It's a success for the chemical industry. They have made billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars by convincing people that they smell, and they're offending everybody else. They're offending themselves. They're humiliating themselves. Their houses stink and need to be covered up. In many cases, fragrance can be unstoppable. We're on the verge of never being able to smell what the ocean air is like when we're standing on the beach because we're breathing in somebody's fabric softener. We're at a place in time where we're losing our sense of smell in a way that makes it so all we do is smell concoctions that were created by the chemical industry. If it's all that anybody has ever known, the smells that they inhale, the smells they ingest, if it's the only thing they've ever known and they were stripped of it, that they went into the woods, that they went into some nature, and they were there, say, camping out for like a week or two, and they were away from it all completely, or maybe even a month, and then they walked back into it, they would go in shock because they have it in their sinuses, they have it in their mouth, it's in their stomach, it sits there, it saturates everything, every cell in the body. And if you take them away from it and they're in a place where it's nature only, fresh air, they're not breathing any more fabric softeners, they're not breathing in any more fragrances from their dishwashers, from their dryer sheets. They're just free from it completely. If they're free from it long enough, it comes out of the sinuses, it comes out of the cells, it comes out of the liver, it comes out of the ears. It comes out of the nose, out of the lungs, out of our cells. And when it starts to leave, and it leaves enough, and then you take that person and you bring them right back into their home where it's ladled in nothing but fragrance, they'll go in shock and they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was living in this. I want to smell fresh air. I want to smell wildflowers, real ones. I want to smell the beach. I want to smell that river flowing. I want to smell the grass. I want to smell nature, the earth. I want to know what dirt on the ground smells like, soil. I want to smell all of that. For years, I've been telling people, pull out those plug-ins out of the walls and toss them, throw them away. Get rid of those scented candles, toss them, throw them away. Clean up some of those products that have fragrances. Get rid of the perfume, get rid of the cologne. Free yourself. Get your house to start smelling like it should. Get your house to start smelling like it needs to. More of its natural smell. The very smell that's part of you, that's naturally you. Getting rid of these chemicals is freeing. It moves you forward with your health and your wellness. It can actually help you heal if you're somebody struggling. Get rid of those, clean up the house, and start moving forward. Hey, thanks for coming over. Yeah. Why are you holding your nose? Why are you looking like that? You're offending me. What's wrong? The smell? Yeah, I know, you're holding your nose. Why are you going to my wall? Oh my god, what are you doing? You just grabbed my air freshener. You unplugged it. Don't do that. Don't throw that away. Yeah, that cost me like $12.99. What? Wait a minute now. What smells now? Are you just... I'm not hiding any smell. Why do you keep on saying that? I'm not hiding any smell. I just saw that in the store and I plugged it in. It smells like wildflowers. Like, it smells good. Like a really nice, pleasant fragrance. You don't think so? Well, yeah, why are you leaving? Or do you want to go out then? We'll go out to eat? Jeez. Hold on, let me turn off the music. And I had this place all set. We were gonna, have fun, and I have dinner cooked, everything. You think the dinner's gonna smell like the air freshener? I've never heard of that. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, I'll go out to eat with you. Don't worry about it. Let me lock up the house and turn off the music, and we'll go out to dinner. Now what? It's all over me? I wear cologne. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Is that bothering you now? Jeez. 200 years can go by, and if the world has ended by that time, through wars and illumination taking the life out of the earth, and it was a desolate, eerie, cold place with very few houses and buildings still standing, and a spaceship from another planet from far away was visiting Earth and landed in an old town where a few houses were still standing, and a human or humanoid walked off that spaceship and walked up to that old house and opened the front door. They would smell the fragrances from the past that have a lifetime of 1,000 years or more. A toxic chemical industrial soup saturated in the fibers of the home. It would be the same. The dryer sheets, the fabric softeners, the air fresheners, the scented candles, the dishwashing detergents, the smells of the past brought to the future. The humanoid would take a breath, and they would breathe in those chemicals, those industrial toxins. And I wonder if they would add it to their analysis of the conditions and other things that they see of why Earth was a wasteland. And I wonder, would those humans or humanoids have chemical industrial fragrances, hundreds and thousands of them, that are damaging to the health? Would they have these chemicals in their homes on their planet that they just came from? We live in a world where we can see the mistakes made against humanity and nature right before our eyes, but we are almost powerless to completely stop what is happening for the moment. Toxic experimental chemicals are bad, but so many are brainwashed to feel they need them, to want them, to live with them. It's a conditioning that has a life of its own now, but there is still hope. It can be turned around.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite, only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical Medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.